Any updates on the administration's efforts to find a third country to host processing of those visas, as well as can you confirm the administration is adding additional staff to help vet those applicants? And how long will that take, and how is the administration going to address security concerns among those who are applying for visas here?
Sure. Well, one of the areas the President will talk about in his remarks this afternoon is certainly ensuring that we are taking care of Afghan nationals who worked side by side with U.S. forces and the SIV applicants, as you noted, including interpreters and translators. So we have already dramatically accelerated the processing time for special immigrant visas to bring them to the United States. We're working closely with Congress. We're continuing to work closely with Congress to change the authorizing legislation so that we can streamline the process for approving visas, even when they are in a third country, and we have stood up an operation to physically relocate thousands of these Afghans and their families before the U.S. military mission concludes so that they can wait safely outside of Afghanistan. That operation has identified U.S. facilities outside of the continental United States as well as third countries. Because of security reasons, we're not going to outline in detail at this point where those are, but I can confirm that we will be conducting flights of our Afghan allies to these locations in August, so of course in advance of the timeline of bringing our troops home.
And then, we're going to hear from the President later, but is it an acceptable outcome for the President if Kabul were to fall to the Taliban? I mean, that's widely predicted by experts, including the U.S. government, as a potential outcome here of the U.S. withdrawal. Is that an acceptable outcome for the President?
Well, firstly, let me say the reason the President is speaking to all of you and the American public today is because he views this as an opportunity to once again communicate to the American people the security challenges he inherited in Afghanistan and affirm why he made the decision he made in April to withdraw our troops and end our involvement in the war. And the question fundamentally facing him was, after 20 years, was he going to commit more American troops to a civil war in Afghanistan? And if we look back 20 years ago, which many people in this room covered when Steve was 9 years old, I'll just by math, we did what we wanted to do, which was we got the terrorists who attacked us on 9/11. We delivered justice to Osama bin Laden. We degraded al-Qaeda's capacity to the point they did not present an active threat to our homeland. He made the decision after a clear-eyed assessment, in part because he's never seen there to be a military end to this war, and also because as we came into office, we had an agreed-to timeline. After May 1st, the uptick in violence was coming this summer. The status quo was not sustainable, and we are still continuing to support diplomatically through security assistance, humanitarian assistance, the ongoing efforts in Afghanistan, including a political negotiation process that's ongoing that we expect the ambassador to continue to return to. So we have always anticipated, Zeke, and the President was very clear about this when he made his speech in April, that there would be an uptick in violence, that there would be an uptick in turmoil on the ground. We knew that, and we knew the security situation would become more difficult. But he made the decision in part because if you look back at recent history, in 2011, the NATO allies and partners agreed that we would end our combat mission by 2014. In 2014, some argued for one more year, so we kept fighting, kept taking casualties. If we did not make the decision we did, there would have been severe consequences. That's why he made it.
Do you believe
Go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
Do you believe it's still possible that the Afghan security forces can repel the Taliban?
Well, certainly, as we expected, the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces are now under real pressure, and that was certainly a part of the discussion the President had with Afghan leaders just 2 weeks ago. And we're going to continue to provide funding and ensure they have capacity to maintain the Air Force. And I would remind you that even since we engaged together with our NATO allies and partners, we have trained and equipped nearly 300,000 currently serving members of the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces. And one of the clear messages that the President sent directly in the meeting he had, and he will continue to convey, is that it is now time for them to be in the lead. They are in the lead as we pull our troops back, and we will continue to support them with security assistance and ongoing training. And we have continue to have the authorities that we've long had through our withdrawal later this summer.